welcome back to Exposing Human Trafficking. I got a real interesting question. I wanted to go ahead and answer that for you. Um, it was about my stepbrother and my stepfather. My stepfather, George Bermudez Sr., never cared about any of his kids. When he was young, he met a girl named Veneris, and they were in a relationship. He went off to the military, and when he came back, she was pregnant with somebody else's baby. So my stepfather got mad, and to take revenge, he knocked her up. That's the terminology that was used. And supposedly he had custody of Georgie for a while. We called him Georgie, my stepbrother. And then he ended up getting arrested for kidnapping. He never cared about Georgie, George Bermudez Jr., the human trafficker. My mom found Georgie twice. Once when I was about 5 or 6, and the second time a couple years before I went to California. They had gone to California, and my mom found Georgie, and she was always trying to establish a relationship with Georgie, have him included. She would tell my stepdad, hey, why don't we get Georgie for the weekend? Or, why don't we take Georgie on vacation? Or let's bring Georgie for Christmas. My stepfather never sent any child support. He never gave him a birthday card. He never looked for him. No Christmas, no nothing. He didn't give a shit. When I turned 17, my step-grandfather, who I thought was my grandfather because they hid my paternity, came over one day, and he had a graduation picture of a boy. And it kind of struck me kind of funny because Georgie is 10 years older than me. And he said, oh, here's your brother's graduation picture. And I said, oh, Georgie? He said, no, David. And I said, who's David? And he said, your brother. You have another brother named David. I was like, oh, okay. So my stepfather went and got drunk so that he could tell me the disgusting, incestuous story of how he and his first cousin, who was married, she had come down to Puerto Rico on vacation, and they went out to a bar. They ended up getting drunk. They ended up in a hotel room. And these first cousins produced David. I know. I want to throw up. Family has always been important to me. Very important. David came to stay with us the summer that he turned 21. And he was trying to establish a relationship with my stepfather. They hid David's paternity until he was about 12. And David was pretty messed up. He was all right, but David didn't have a really good upbringing. My stepfather didn't care. He was drunk the whole time. He climbed on the roof. He fell off the roof. He broke his pinky. We had to take him to the hospital. He basically ignored David the whole time. And it made me really sad. I reached out to David a few times, and then when I was in Colorado, I invited David to come and stay with me. David stayed with me. He got a job. I introduced him to all my friends. I was, again, so excited because I had family with me. And I don't know how, and I don't know why, David got a hold of the porn videos and he gave them to my friends. And then I don't know why or how it happened, but all of a sudden, all of my friends turned against me. They didn't want to talk to me, that I was ostracized. Nobody would explain to me why they were mad at me or giving me the silent treatment. And David ended up turning my friends against me. I saw David a few more times after that. I couldn't get any information or headway. Nothing. There was nothing. Um, my stepfather treated my younger half brother and sister like crap. My mom allowed it. You know, she let him abuse us. He would call me a whore right in front of her, and she never said anything. Um, when my younger sister turned 16, she was supposed to have a sweet 16 little dinner party with her friends. And my stepfather was screaming that if those girls came over, he was going to rape them. And so my mom had my sister uninvite all of her friends to her sweet 16. My stepfather ruined Christmas. I found out that that's part of the Satanist plan book because they're so stupid. They want to ruin Christmas because they think it's Jesus's birthday, but it's really the pagan solstice. But these are very ignorant, stupid people. At least my biological father made sure that I had money. That's how they even stole my inheritance. But he sent over what would be the equivalent today of about $800 a month in child support. My stepfather, he never gave child support to any of his two sons. And I think he ended up pocketing most of my child support because I was just allowed the bare minimum. According to him, if you had a plate of food and something clean to wear, you had nothing to complain about. And little things that I wanted, I was denied. If I got like money for Christmas or birthday or whatever, he ended up taking it and using it to buy alcohol and beers. Um, he always would dote on me though. I was the favorite because he was grooming me for human trafficking and to become a Satanist breeder so that they could have babies to kill for their stupid rituals. He'd always ask me if I ate because I guess my biological father, made it clear that I should at least have food. Because he treated my younger brother and sister like crap and he had abused me, I was always very protective over them. My mom didn't really care about their lives much. They didn't get involved in their friends. I would tell my mom, hey, about my younger brother. He had some friends that weren't too good, and um, she didn't care until he got into some trouble. But if they got in trouble in school, I was the one who got him out of trouble because I was afraid if my stepfather found out that he would beat them or do something to them. I made sure that they always had allowance. I made sure that my younger brother always had his tuxedo rented for homecoming so that he could have a normal teenage high school life that I didn't get to have. Um, but with all that, um, my parents, they didn't care. They they just didn't care. Food, clothing, and shelter. They didn't spend time. My mom was watching television all the time. They didn't care. So that's how it is. And Georgie said that when he was raised, his stepfather used to beat him. You know, my stepfather and Georgie got really close after I started being trafficked because now they were making more money off of me by forcing me to do porn, by drugging me and threatening me with a knife and other things that they did to me, forcing abortions, killing my cat, threatening to do it to my younger brother and sister. My stepfather raped two of my friends. One of them was a virgin. And once they started getting real heavy into the human trafficking business in the 90s, and they started blackmailing Brad Pitt for money because he had also been trafficked, then they were all over the world and visiting and going here and there and just living it up. But that's what Satanists are like. They abuse their kids. They treat them like crap. They want to turn them bitter and angry and mean so that the kids will end up doing criminal things and become cold and heartless. But not everybody becomes that way because you do have choice and you can choose light or darkness. So always be careful with a man who has children and doesn't take care of them. That is a big red flag. Because my stepfather never cared if Georgie or David had food or clothes or anything. Nothing whatsoever. And my mom, she would try so hard to get him to do something, and he just didn't. My mom needed to leave him. But, he had her blackmailed about telling the truth about my paternity. Any way you look at it, it's all screwed up. So if you got any questions, comment down below, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, hit that notification bell, and share so that there's not one more victim of human trafficking. Thank you.